Like, I didn't ask for to be this strong. I didn't ask to be courageous. I didn't ask for the microaggressions. I didn't ask for all these things to happen, this violence to happen to me, to put me in situations where I've had to like navigate my life or a friend's life or a community's safety. I didn't ask for that, you know what I mean?
So Southerners on New Ground is an organization that is over 25 years old. It was founded here in Durham, actually, by 3 white lesbians and 3 black lesbians. One of our core values is bringing about queer liberation. And so it runs from Virginia to Louisiana. We have chapters in different states.
So I'm grateful for the politicization, for the political family that song has given me. I'm very lucky to be baptized in queer Southern resistance.
I think there's a bigger challenge in the South thinking about some of our history and traditions that we hold on to. But also, as a Southerner, I find that the South is one of those places where we are constantly confronting those challenges, and those have always been confronted.
What identities do you hold?
Black, first and foremost, blackity black, black, black. Black, and also the world also treats me and sees me, and I face anti-blackness as a black person, right? I'm also trans, also identify as femme. I also have HIV, I'm also poor. So these are some of the identities that I face violence, because sometimes it's violence of my blackness and violence against transness and violence against having HIV or violence against being poor, and sometimes it's like all of them at the same time. You're like, whoa. So
That song really spends a lot of time thinking about is how can we live free from fear? And there are a lot of ways that marginalized communities here live in fear. One of those ways certainly is just having this fear of not being able to bring our whole selves into spaces.
We live in a community where I feel most of the time I can be my full self. And I would love to be able to experience that everywhere.
I think liberation just looks like people being able to be people, and not being in a cage, no borders, you know what I mean?
Liberation for me is really just embracing my whole self, and that can be so difficult because it's really easy to compartmentalize depending on what situation you're in, and sometimes you do that for safety, and sometimes you do that because of shame, and sometimes you do that because of fear.
Have you been able to be whole?
I think so.
Getting there?
I think so. I think I am grateful for Song's work and the community because of this sort of foundational element towards wholeness.
Before I was a part of Song, I really was just dealing with a lot of internalized trauma and didn't know how to process it. I mean, I think one of the key things is recognizing that there are spaces where I can like bring my whole self, where I can come into my own. It's brought a lot of color into my life.
To be whole means that I can show up in a space and I can be my full brown queer, genderqueer self. And I just get to have an experience that is affirming and encouraging to live into my fullness and my complexity.
I know I'm in a space where I'm figuring out who I am and coming to terms with a lot of like childhood trauma that's helping me become that whole person. But I'm still, I don't think I'm there yet.
What does it mean to be whole?